It's Wednesday, the best day, and welcome to the episode of KHALM Conversation. But I have to say that we're going to be changing the day. It's not Wednesday, the best anymore. We're going to be on Thursdays now. So it's going to be a whole new intro, whole new change with the podcast. But on today's podcast, on today's episode of KHALM Conversation, we have a very, very special guest. We have my brother's mom, who's like a second mom to me, honestly. I have a lot of moms. She's my second mom. My grandma's one of my moms. My mom, shout out Mommy G. Shout out Samantha. I got a lot of moms. and here's one of my moms. So Katia Hernandez, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here.
I'm glad you could come on. I wanted to have you on just because it's a perspective that I was even talking to Dre about it. And we didn't really think about what it was like to have a kid for such a young age. You were 21, you said, right?
Yeah.
When you had Dre. And let's just get into that. Well, first of all, just so we can bring the connection between you, what was it like watching this grow up? Just especially I'll give an example with wrestling. I was watching us wrestle each other.
You know what? It was scary for me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about wrestling. You know that.
Yeah.
I got introduced to wrestling through your dad. Mm-hmm. And then watching you guys wrestle, I don't know if you remember, I was always like, guys, be careful, you're gonna get hurt. Constantly. I always thought that there was gonna be a broken arm or something was gonna come out of the melees that you guys you saw was arms and legs going everywhere. And Dre being the little one wanting to jump in with you guys.
Yeah. He wanted to go the hardest too. And he never give up too.
Oh, I know.
Ever. We put him in the worst hole. Just give up. He's like, no, I'm not giving up. You could be bending like a pretzel and he's like, no, I'm not giving up. He's stubborn. He never gave up.
I wonder where he got that from.
Yeah, I know, right? He never give up. But it's funny, I mentioned that because Sam told me, because after she watched the video with Kyle, she's like, I had a different perspective. She's like, every time I saw you guys together, I was terrified of you guys wrestling each other. So I wanted to hear what your opinion is. I figured it'd be pretty much the same, worrying they were going to kill each other.
Yeah, no, that's really what it was. But your dad always said, no, they're fine. But I always thought that somebody was going to get seriously hurt. I was thinking broken neck. When you guys used to bend each other.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I mean, the funny thing is especially because I still watch wrestling now, they were so stern on don't try this at home, but clearly that did not work.
Nope.
They don't do that anymore. They don't even say don't try this at home.
Because they know people don't listen.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what it is. But they were they would literally show people with broken necks. They'd show people with blood coming down their face. Dudes I had to get surgery on my knee, and it clearly didn't work. I just thought it was interesting they don't try it anymore. But I guess they just realize it's kids. They're gonna do. You tell them no, and they're gonna do it. Basically.
Yeah, but at the end, it's on the parents, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
The kids are gonna do whatever they want to do unless the parent tells them to stop.
That's true.
And I did try. But
And all it takes is the parents not being there and say oh, mom's not home, let's wrestle. You know what I mean? It's just
oh, that you just put that thought in my head. What did you guys do when we were at home?
We wrestled.
Dre has told me, he's there's these, we've been talking and he's tried to tell me things that I didn't know. And I was like, you know what? You're fine. Nothing bad happened. Just don't tell me. I really don't want to know.
Yeah, that's true. When it comes to that, it's you know what?
You survived, so we're good. I don't need to know.
Exactly. I don't need to know about it. But so let's jump to 21.
Yeah.
You're pregnant with Dre. I want to go through slowly. So let's start with when you first, I don't know if it's still fresh in your mind, but when you first got the news that okay, I'm having a child, what was it? Was it overwhelming fear? Was there a little bit of excitement? What was going through your head?
To be honest, it was more, I was excited, but it was really funny the way that it happened. It's I don't know. It's we know our bodies really well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are other women out there that know, you just know. I knew I was pregnant. I hadn't even missed my period yet, but I just knew. And I went and I waited a couple of days after missed my period, went and got a test, and I went to the doctor's office to get it done, and it was negative.
Oh, really?
And they were like, no, and I was like, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I know I am.
Yeah.
And I waited another week and took a home pregnancy test, and sure enough, it was very faint, but it was there. And then I'm not kidding you, I think I bought about 6 or 7. And because I was like, I know I'm not crazy. And then sure enough,
And then that's weird though. Did they ever say like why it was showing negative in the first place? Or that's
well,
just, like,
you got to think back, right? This was 20 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So the tests I'm sure they're a lot more advanced now than they were then.
Some are probably defective and stuff.
Yeah, and they look for is like hormone levels, right? That's really what they're testing for. And like the tests now are a lot more advanced, that they can test a lot earlier. Back then, I don't even know what it was that they were using, but But anyways, I was excited. It didn't really click in my mind the scope of the responsibility that was headed my way. Yeah. I was just happy. Like, I'm gonna have a baby. That's literally where
so you were excited.
I was excited. I was excited. I was happy, but it didn't, like I said, it hadn't dawned on me. Yeah. Like, this is a human life that I'm going to be responsible for until they're at least 18 or 20.
I couldn't even imagine. And like, I guess when you were younger, because like I think of like my sister, because she's 17 right now, she's like, I never want kids. Were you one of those people that said you never want kids, or like you always had the idea that like eventually I want to have kids?
That, you know how when you're a kid you think of what you want to be when you get older? Yeah. I wanted to be a mom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, I didn't think about wanting to be a doctor or this or that. Like, my wish as a little girl is I wanted to be a mother.
Okay. Where did that come from? You like taking care of people kind of thing?
I just liked the thought of you, the nurturing side, and like taking care of somebody, and like the sacrifice, I guess, because I remember like my experience growing up in El Salvador is very different than like a lot of people would have growing up here in Canada. So knowing that you have to put your needs aside for someone else. Yeah. And even as a little kid, I mean, I'm sure I didn't fully understand that, but that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted to like take care of somebody and like, watch them grow up. That's what I was like, I wanted to be a mom. And I wanted, like, I come from a large family, as you know. I wanted a lot of kids, and just ended up with one more than one, because there's you as well. But yeah, like I wanted, like in my mind I wanted like 6 kids.
Oh, really?
Again, thoughts of a child, right? That has no idea what that entails.
What the responsibility. You think of like I get a bunch of little like kids to play with, basically.
That honestly could have been it, because I used to play when I was little. I used to play at being mom.
Oh, okay. Oh, like, really?
Oh, yeah. That was one of my number one things. I used to play at being mom. That I would go to the store and buy food and cook, and then dress the kids and put them to bed. Oh, yeah.
Did you do that with your sisters? Like, what's the age? Like you're the middle youngest?
I'm the third youngest.
The third youngest.
The third youngest, and my sister, she's 16. We're 16 months apart. Okay. So her and I always played together, and we played the same games. Yeah. Like, played at being mom, played like sometimes I'd be the mom and then she'd be the lady at the store like selling me things. Oh yeah. Like those are the kind of games that you know.
See, that's interesting, because I would have thought that like if you were like the oldest sibling, that would have been like more of like, oh, I'm gonna play mom because I have like these younger siblings to practice on, kind of thing. No. But you were like the youngest basically, and then that was like your.
And that's what I wanted. I had my sister Evelyn. She, because we come from such a large family, kind of like what you said, is that the older siblings took care of the younger ones. So we had an assigned sibling that they were the ones that like would get us up in the morning, like wake me up, get me ready for school, make sure I had breakfast and all that. So I was Evelyn's assigned sibling. Okay. And I, you know what, it got to the point where like even to this day she remembers, and I remember I thought she was my mom.
Oh, really?
When I was, I think, probably 4 or 5 years old, I thought she was my mom, because I would even go sleep in the same bed with her. Yeah. And because she took care of me, because imagine like there were 8 kids and only one mom. Like
that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with.
So and like I don't know. I've always said that being a mom is like the best thing in the world. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's, like there's nothing that beats it. There's nothing that beats it.
Yeah. Did you I can only imagine too, like did you have a lot of support like from your sisters and like at first?
While I was pregnant, because my pregnancy wasn't like I had a bit of a difficult pregnancy. My sisters were and my mom were very supportive. I had a lot of doctor's appointments, before Dre was born, I was kind of in and out of the hospital because there were complications.
Because he was he
was preemie. He was premature.
Okay,
he was born, and this is the thing, is that just recently I was going through some papers and I found they give you like a certificate at the hospital.
Yeah.
It's not a birth certificate, but it's like to say, hey, you're welcome, welcome baby boy. And I had him he was 36 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was 4 weeks early, but he was, even for that age, he was small because he was just a little over 4 pounds. Like he was.
I don't remember him being that small. But then again, I was only like 5, so like I can't.
Like to you, it was like I'm sure you remember that picture of you holding him.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't actually physically remember it. Like actually,
but you remember? Have you seen the picture?
Like, okay, yeah. I remember like embracing him when he was like a baby, but to me, it didn't feel like, oh, this is a small baby, because I didn't even realize what a
you wouldn't have known the difference.
Yeah,
no, he was really small.
Oh yeah?
Like he was really small. Like
I remember
he
having
fit,
like the veins.
Right here.
I remember having like the veins. Is that part of it? Is that just like a...
Yeah, no, that's a thing for premature babies. They'll have a lot of veins on their faces.
Yeah.
And I think because from what I've heard is that they don't really go away. They fade a little bit, and I'm gonna
look to see.
I'm gonna look
to
see if they're still there. But there are veins that come up the side of their cheeks, like right here. He did. He had all of that. He was. He was this like little.
That's crazy. A forearm, basically.
Like he fit right, like from here to here. Like he was.
Yeah. Did that scare you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
Yeah, no, I was terrified that I was gonna hurt him, especially like, see like my nails.
Yeah.
Okay, so back then I used to get my nails done like every 2-3 weeks, and I used to have these long, like
acrylic nails, right? Yeah.
Yeah, with the crazy designs. Yeah, I was that girl.
And what you were just gonna like puncture his skin?
I thought I was gonna scratch him, and the thing is, I didn't. Again, I was 21.
Yeah.
I didn't think like maybe I should cut these off because like I'm about to have a baby.
Yeah.
No, didn't think of it. So I'm in the hospital with these, like the nails are probably like twice as long as what I have right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I was afraid I was gonna scratch him because his skin was so
soft.
It was very thin. And the premature babies also have very thin skin.
Okay. I was gonna ask that if there's anything else wrong with that. Thin skin.
Yeah, their skin's very. It's almost like, it feels almost like paper thin. Like it's very thin. Wow. And he wasn't big, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, his face was chubby, but then he was like skin and bones everywhere else. So his skin was actually loose because he wasn't getting enough nutrients.
Did the doctors give you like any like things like, oh, because he's a preemie, you have to do this kind of thing, or?
No, that's the thing, is that we were really lucky because he could have had a lot more complications. Yeah. The worst thing that he had was jaundice. He turned yellow the day, like within hours of being born. You could start to see like the whites in his eyes were going yellow. Like he had a yellow tone to his skin. So they had to put him in an incubator with the special lights. And he was in the incubator, I think, for a couple of days, because we were in the hospital, I think, for 2-3 days after he was born, and then they sent us home. Okay. Yeah, no, that was other than that, his lungs were well developed. His brain, as far as we know. His brain. He's gonna kill me. Yeah, well, no, because that's a lot of the things that sometimes preemie babies have developmental issues. Yeah. But no, he was perfect aside from being jaundiced and being skinny.
Everything ended up working out.
Yeah. I mean, here we are 20 years later.
Yeah. Did you did your mom did you go to her for advice like a lot of the times, like, oh, what should I do kind of stuff, or how did it go?
Yes and no. So imagine at this point, my mom being the mother of multiple girls, all having had children before they were 20.
Oh, really?
Most of them, aside from one. Yeah. Evelyn was the only one that she did everything the way that, the way the society says that you should do it, that she got married and then had a baby. Yeah. No, the rest of us, we all had kids. Everybody had their kids before they turned 20. Then there was me, that I was 21 when I had them. Yeah. So when I told my mom that I was pregnant, it was kind of like, and I'm not kidding, she was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like it wasn't even, like her reaction was just like, here we go again. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess after it's happened a couple of times, that would be the reaction, right? You're kind of just like,
this was like the 5th.
Yeah. But did she like? I mean, she was still like supportive, even if she was kind of like.
Yeah, no, I could call her and ask her questions. But there's one thing that I did after he was born is that's when it really sunk in that I'm responsible for him. You know, the daycare and like transportation. I didn't drive at the time. I didn't have a car, so I took the bus. I'm never gonna forget the first time that I went out in the snow with a stroller with him when he was a baby.
Yeah.
And the bus didn't stop for me.
Oh, really?
And he left. I mean, it's like I can see it. It's like ingrained in my memory. It was such a sad moment for me, because then it really hit me like, this isn't gonna be easy. And like you're on your own here. And I was at the bus stop with like the big, you guys think strollers are big now, the big clunky things that we had back then. And I had to fight to get to the bus stop. It had snowed, I think 20 centimeters the night before. So it was before the roads were all cleared, but I had to I was trying to get to work. And the bus, I'm standing at the stop and he just
kept going. Past. Why? I don't understand why. Usually if you see someone with a stroller, it's just like...
Yeah, no, he left me.
Just went. So what were you left to do then? You just had to like trek it through the snow?
I had to wait for the next one.
Oh, you just waited. Okay, I thought you were about to tell me you went on this whole adventure going through the snow. Like...
No. You know what? I did think about it. I did think about because remember where we used to live, right? I could have walked to Bayshore. Yeah. But seeing how much I had struggled just from the house to the bus stop, I was like, I might as well just stay here and wait.
For the next one.
But that really was like, and I think that's why that moment really sticks out, because I didn't understand how hard it was gonna be until, that wasn't the only thing that happened, but that was one of the things that happened that kind of like, okay, this is serious. Like you need to figure your shit out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's definitely many challenges, but can you think of like one of like the first challenges that like kind of like hit you?
It was so I used to, I worked retail for like 24 years. So I got a job working as a visual merchandiser for Fairweather. But the job started at 7 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And I was lucky enough. I've been very fortunate that I found a sitter that was literally across the street. Yeah. So in order for me to get to work on time, I had to catch the bus at 5:45 in the morning from Baseline. Yeah. So that meant that I had to leave the house at 5. Damn. So what I would do is I would get his bag ready. Yeah. And sleeping Dre, wouldn't even wake him, in his pajamas, wrap him up in like a furry, remember those like fuzzy blankets?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would wrap him up in one of those blankets and carry him across the street in the winter. Yeah. And then like literally knock on the door and just hand my child over to the babysitter with the bag. Sometimes I had, you had to bring your own milk. Yeah. With a bag of milk and go to work.
Was that like how often how was like working? Was it like full time?
It was full time. It was full time. So he was like, Dre started going to babysitters at the age of 2. No, this was a home daycare. So it was across the street. Yeah. So it was before he was 1 when I started bringing him there.
Was it tough? Like I can't imagine, like, because you have such a connection with the kid, like handing your kid over to someone else that's kind of like a stranger and being like, take care of my kid. When you are gone, were you always like thinking like, is he okay in the back of my head?
The first while was really hard, but at the same time I knew that like I have to work. Like, I have to work to to have put a roof over our heads and to have food on the table. It was hard, but at the same time you know that you don't have a choice. Yeah. And that you have to do it. And I did not, like, I take pride in saying this, like I did not want to go on social assistance. And it was just, and I know that there's people that do it, and everybody has has their challenges.
It has the reasons.
It has the reasons for doing it. For me, I didn't want to do it because I felt that I'm able and capable of working and taking care of us.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I know
that's kind of the way. That's the way that I saw it. And part of me, in hindsight, I think it might have been a little bit selfish of me because I do think that I missed out on a lot of things.
Like what?
Just when he started going to daycare when he was a baby.
Yeah.
His first steps. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like.
You didn't see them.
To be honest, I don't think I did.
Okay.
I think I might have missed that.
Yeah. His first words?
His first words, just him like saying mama, dada, that kind of thing. Yeah. But like, for example, you asked me how to potty train a child, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had someone else did it for me.
Yeah.
Because I was working.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the kind of things that I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How did that, you know what I mean? Like, I really wanted to do everything for him and with him. Yeah. But there were so many things that, like,
yeah, you had other responsibilities though. You had other things, like you needed, and I understand where you're coming from, where you're saying that like it's like the pride that made you want to like do the work and everything, but at the same time, like, but if I stayed back, but I feel like those kind of things, it's not like that's like some like early child development stuff that like he'd stick with him, like, oh, my mom never was there for me when I first you know what I mean? You didn't remember that.
No, but it bothers me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, even to this day, it bothers me because I'm like, how? Like, potty train, like I didn't potty train him. Yeah. Like, I literally had somebody tell me, oh, by the way, he's not wearing diapers anymore. We're potty training him. Yeah. So when you get home, just, he's going to need to put one on to when you put him to bed. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so this is what I'm doing?
Okay. Yeah, so you felt like someone else was raising him, not you, like at that point. I can understand why that would feel a little bit off. Yeah. Yeah,
and you can imagine he went to the same daycare for 6 years, almost 7.
Yeah.
The children's place, like I think they raised him right along with me and your dad. Like, those people were great. Yeah, I'm forever grateful to that daycare. Mm-hmm. They were amazing and they loved him. Yeah. They loved him. Every single teacher that I talked to, they just absolutely adored him. Yeah. Even though he was bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. In my head, I'm like, he was a bad kid. But.
Yeah. Even though this is the thing is that back then, my child was an angel. Yeah. If you told me like my Dre, no.
Yeah. I think it had to do with a lot of the other kids, a lot of those kids, because I remember brief moments like going over there just like with my dad and we pick them up, and I see how the kids were acting. I mean, there's kids, but the kids were wild.
Yeah.
So it's like he was just in the environment, so he's like, hey, we're all just wild. So I think, and then when you took him out of that, he just kept that wildness.
But he would hide it from me. He was really good at hiding it from me. Whenever he was with me, do you know how often I got, oh my God, he is so well behaved. Your son is so polite. And I was just like beaming with pride. Little did I know, the moment I turned around, it was like a different child. Yeah, he thinks now he thinks, he's like, you didn't know. You didn't know how bad I was. And I was like, no.
I guess he was pretty good at hiding it.
He was really good at hiding it.
That didn't concern you though, right? Like, when I always wondered that with like parents, like when you see like a kid like going through like phases, do you look at them like their phases, or whether like he's gonna be a bad kid, or it's just like a bad phase? Like, did you ever look?
I think as a parent, you always want to think it's a bad phase. Yeah. I'm not saying like he grew out of a lot, the majority of those behaviors. Yeah. But I also look at it from, if let's say he hadn't. Yeah. I think as a parent, you always think it's just a phase, they're gonna grow out of it. Yeah. But I think the moment that you start to see that it's not changing, the behaviors are not changing, I mean, I think that's when you try to talk to them. Mm. And having, for me, that's something that I'm really happy about, is that the relationship that Dre and I have. Yeah. That I know that if he's having a problem, he can talk to me, and he will talk to me, because I that's something that I didn't have growing up. Mm. I didn't have parents that you could talk to, without knowing that you were gonna get in
not
trouble.
like a fear of like judgment or like
like, okay, crap, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah,
like if I'm not even gonna get any advice, I'm just gonna get in trouble. I always, and even growing up, I always thought, I'm like, that's something that I don't want to do. Like I want my kids to be able to talk to me. You know, like there's been times when I really wanted to, but I was happy that he called me. Because
the alternative could have been like, he might get himself in a worse situation
just to avoid getting in trouble, which to me in my mind now as an adult doesn't make sense, because rather get in trouble than end up injured or missing.
No, that's true. I mean, when you're in high school especially, it's like, oh man, like I went to this party and like I'm really drunk, but I on my way home, it's like, but if I tell my parents, then like they're gonna know I got like drunk. So then they end up like doing all this like this weird shit to get home, and they might get hurt because now they're drunk and da-da-da. But then if you have a relationship where you can talk to them, where it's like, hey, I need your help, like I'm stranded and I'm like drunk, by the way, they'll smell it off you, so it's like you can't even hide it. So like, it is, that's the kind of relationship you guys feel like you have, right? Like if any situation he's in, he always feels like he can call you no matter what.
He has. There was
to call him out?
No, there was just once where he was supposed to be home at a certain time and he wasn't, and I was worried. Obviously I got worried because he was like 14 at the time. And it was like 1:00 in the morning and he still wasn't here. So you can imagine how I was freaking out, because your dad was working nights then. So it was just the two of us. And he ended up, I was calling him and he wasn't answering, and I was like, I'm like, once I know he's okay, I'm gonna kill him. But no, it turned out that there was a girl in their group and they walked her home. And they didn't realize how far she lived. So they made sure that she got home okay, which I was very proud of, very happy. But then it was him and his friends. And then he called me, he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, it's gonna be a while before I get home. And I was like, I'll call you an Uber. And he's like, yeah, I'm with my friends. And I was like, that's okay, I will pay for the Uber to drop your friends off at home so that they get home safe, but like that way you guys are okay. At the time I was mad, but then by the time he got home I was like, I was just happy that he was home. And again, I was glad that he called he called me to say, hey mom, this is what's going on. And like by all means, I was like, God, no problem, I'll get your friends home. And you know, like that's what I've always wanted, and I'm really glad that I feel we have that, at least like that bond, like, and we have that with that relationship.
No, that's good. I mean, like, that's something that like you have to, like, when do you think like that kind of formed? Like, when did that? Is it just like a conversation you had, or it was just like it kind of like just felt like that between you two of you?
I think Dre and I have always talked from the time that he was younger. You know, the best conversations happen in the car. It's like on like long drives or something. It's just the two of you kind of stuff. But even if we were going somewhere, like sometimes we'd be driving. Remember when your dad worked like all the way out in the Riverside South? Sometimes he'd come along with me to pick him up when his schedule was different. We would talk in the car. Even to this day, we have some of the best conversations.
Like just on drives.
And I'm driving him to work, when I'm picking him up. Sometimes, you know, we have conversations that might not be the most comfortable ones. But there are things, you know, sometimes you just need to say things. And I find, I don't know, it's like the car's like our couch, like our, you know, like you're going to the therapist and you're sitting on the couch. Like that's like for us, for him and I, it's the car. Like always.
Okay, so what would you say is something that you learned about yourself from just having Dre or being a mom? Like hindsight's always 20/20, right? I had a plan sort of in my head of what I wanted my life to be and how I was going to be as a mom. Nothing goes the way that you plan. For one, you're going to make mistakes. And I think one of the most important things, especially as a parent, is owning up when you've made a mistake. Because you have like an example of that, or a time that comes to mind?
To be honest, maybe times when I might have overreacted to something.
Like towards him, or and then like calling myself out on it, like I shouldn't, like I shouldn't have done that. Like it was not serious. Because I know that I have a temper.
and so does he.
Yeah.
Again, I wonder where he got it from. And just like the mistake part is the one thing that does come to mind, because like I said, like there's so many, like I have a lot of regrets of things that I wish I would have done.
Yeah.
So
like you said, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
Like, there's always gonna be
for
that.
example,
Okay.
at the park over here, just you know, by
high
the
school?
Yeah, you know where the COVID-19 testing places right across, you know, there's a big park there.
Yeah.
In the summertime, you see a lot of young kids. They're doing like when they're like 4 or 5 years old, they're playing soccer.
Okay, yeah.
That's one thing that I really like. I wasn't able to have Dre in any sports when he was little.
Yeah.
Not until we moved to Orleans.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't because of work.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I always feel like I let work take over too much of my life. But because I was so focused on making sure that I had a good job and that. But there were other things that should have been more important to me then. Again, those are things that I see now as I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
But regret, that's like one of the things that like eats at me all the time. But sometimes you just have to, you know, accept the things are not going to go the way that you want them to go.
Oh, for sure.
And learn. Like if I'd had more children, then maybe I would, you know, I would have been able to do that.
I mean, Dre's still, he's not gone. he's like, there's still like lessons and stuff you can give him and stuff like that. And like,
but I can't put him into like little soccer.
I guess that's true. That's very true. You didn't play any sports?
No, no, basketball. Remember, he played. When we moved to Orleans, that's when we started getting him into sports.
Yeah, that's true. But he didn't play any in Bayshore? He didn't play anything in Bayshore?
Nothing.
He went like in boot camp. In daycare, they didn't have like a sports thing, or like they have them play games.
they played games, but like I wanted him to
to be an organized sports.
Yeah, that's what I wanted him to do that. Yeah. But it never
transpired.
No.
I mean, he used to just like play with us, like whenever like he cause I think back to like at Mummy G's and stuff, like when we'd see Dre, he like played basketball. I mean, he was so tiny. So like
he was so little.
Yeah, he was so little he couldn't like really play with us, but he was there. He was trying. I think that's always obviously where his like love. I mean, we're always talking about basketball. So that's where his love for basketball came from. But we all tried soccer though. All of us. Kobe's the only one that really ever like stuck with it. But like for some reason like soccer just never stuck. I think it definitely has to do with the weather. Basketball you can play all year round. Yeah. Because they usually want to play outside, and then if it's too, then we go inside and play. But soccer, it's like our summer's not that very long here. You don't want to play soccer in the fall. It's kind of cold, and then winter hits, and then it's rainy. It's like
There was a soccer game. I think it was Canada and Mexico, and they were playing in the snow, and I was like, why?
Yeah, that's horrible.
Like I felt bad for the Mexican players because they're like, obviously Mexico lost, and I was like, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, because they're not used to those clients. Yeah, that's horrible. I don't even. Yeah, why would they even do that? Yeah, that's that's rough. So like the last thing I'll ask you, just like to wrap it up, is anyone that's listening that they might be a young mom or soon to be a young mom, what was like advice you'd give to them? I know you said that like obviously hindsight's 20/20 and you'll make mistakes, but is there anything else you could give?
Be patient with yourself.
Okay.
And take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you are not in a good headspace, you're not gonna be your ability to be a good parent is not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I should have. I should have taken better care of myself. Just your emotional state does affect, it does affect your children. And when you're young, things feel like it's the end of the world, and it really isn't.
Yeah.
And again, I would just like think of myself at that age. It's just like it's just the stuff that goes through your head as when you're young. It's just it's not that serious. The world is not gonna end. The sun will come up tomorrow, and you are gonna go on.
You're right. It's true.
It's true.
It's like, you think back to something when you're in elementary school and like that one person didn't dance you at the school dance. That's the end of your world, right?
Yep, that's it.
I just lost my job. It's like, no, but that girl didn't dance with me at the dance. It's the same thing. It's like all of it just feels the same no matter what age you are. So it is funny when you look back.
But that's the thing. That advice that I would have for a young parent is like take care of yourself. Yeah. Because if you're gonna be a good parent, you have to be in a good space.
Oh, for sure.
In the energy that there's something really important to remember is that the energy that you carry with you, you're bringing that home to your kids.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And as much as you might try to hide it, it's still there. It's like an energy, right? It's like when you walk into a room and somebody's angry.
You can feel it.
You can feel it. It's like a
demeanor. It's like
it's like there's like a heaviness in the room. Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah, you can definitely feel it.
Yeah. So kids are more like, they're even more sensitive to that stuff than we are. So imagine what they feel.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I would say is like just being mindful of that kind of stuff, because trust me, when you go look back years later, you're gonna have regrets.
Yeah.
And if you can avoid them, why not?
No, for sure. Thank you for coming on the podcast today. I learned a lot. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know that you said to me today. I want to have you back on at some point, because like there's so many like different layers, so many things we could talk about. I said that I want to do like this, like a big thing where we can like all kind of talk about Kyle, and that's like a cool thing.
I would love that.
I'd love actually for you to come on like and talk about like El Salvador and stuff too, because I feel like that's like a big thing. I don't know too much about it, and obviously like you have like your own perspective, so it'd be cool to hear that. And also we're both big movie buffs, so we could talk, get out and do a thing, talk about movies. That'd be really fun. So thanks again for coming on, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and I'm gonna have Dre on, so then you get to hear from Dre. You get his perspective. This is Dre right here. I didn't even acknowledge the picture, but here's a picture of Dre at what age is that?
He was 15.
Okay, he's 15.
Yeah, 15.
I'm in there. My dad's in there. My dad's gonna be on too. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow. Peace out.